So this is Land of Stories, Chapter 1, Part 2, since I went a little over 15 minutes. Mrs. Peters rolled her eyes so far into the back of her head she could have seen what was behind her. "That," she said, with a clenched jaw, "is exactly why we're having this lesson." A frizzy red-haired girl became wide-eyed and sad. How could something so dear to her have been so very wrong? For homework, Mrs. Peters said, and the room unanimously slumped in their seats, "You are to pick your favorite fairy tale and write a paper due tomorrow on the real lesson the tale is trying to tell us." Mrs. Peters went to her desk and the students began working on their assignment with a little class time remaining. Mr. Bailey, Mrs. Peters summoned Connor to her desk. "A word?" Connor was in double trouble and he knew it. He cautiously stood up and walked to Mrs. Peters' desk. The other students gave him sorrowful looks as he walked by, as if he were walking to his executioner. "Yes, Mrs. Peters?" Connor asked. "Connor, I'm trying to be very sensitive about your family situation," Mrs. Peters said, glaring at him over the frames of her glasses. Family situation. 2 words Connor had heard too many times in the last year. "However," Mrs. Peters continued, "there is a certain behavior I just will not tolerate in my classroom. You're constantly falling asleep in class. You don't pay attention. Not to mention you quiz and test very poorly. Your sister seems to be functioning just fine. Perhaps you could follow her example." It was a comparison that felt like a kick in the stomach every time someone made it. Excuse me. Thank you. Indeed, Connor was not his sister by any means, and he was always punished because of it. "If this continues, I will be forced to have a meeting with your mother. Do you understand?" Mrs. Peters warned him. "Yes, sir. I mean, ma'am. Sorry. It just hadn't been the best day." "Okay, then. You may have a seat." Connor slowly walked back to his seat, his head hanging slightly lower than it had all day. More than anything, he hated feeling like a failure. Excuse me. Alex had watched the entire conversation between her and her brother and their teacher. As much as her brother embarrassed her, she did feel for him, as only a sister could. Alex flipped through his literature book, deciding on which story to write about. The pictures weren't as colorful and exciting as they had been in his grandmother's book. But seeing all the characters she had grown up reading about made her feel at home, a feeling that had recently been a rarity. If only fairy tales were real, she thought, somebody could wave a wand and magically make things how they used to be. And that is the end of Chapter 1. So I will stop there today, but I just want to do a quick review. And remember, I'm reading a chapter book, so I would love it. I actually make comics out of this, and you're going to see them soon. So remember to visualize as you're thinking. And this is Connor drooling on his desk. I'm going to add a little drool there, and I should probably add a book or something that of when he was sleeping in class. And then I don't think I was able to attach. I will be able to attach it. I got this. All right. Yep. So we will see you guys later, and hopefully you enjoyed that chapter.